Kakeru Serrano wakes up from a nightmare in the middle of a college party, and he already wants to leave. Parties are the last place he wants to be. His friend Ushirumi practically dragged him there, insisting it would be fun. Unfortunately for Kakeru, he's surrounded by loud, overly expressive people who don't seem embarrassed by anything. Watching all the guys desperately try to impress the girls makes him cringe. His friend thinks everyone is just having a good time, but Kakeru can't stop thinking, "Yep, I definitely don't belong here." Suddenly, one of the most outgoing guys stands up and dramatically confesses his love to Yuko Hayase. He gives a heartfelt speech about falling in love at first sight, only for Yuko to reject him without hesitation because he's simply not her type. The room erupts with laughter. It was painfully embarrassing, but at least the guy had the courage to try. Still wishing he could disappear, Kakeru is forced by his friend to sit with two girls who have been quietly keeping to themselves the entire night. One is Yuko, the same girl who just crushed that poor guy's dreams, and the other is Koharu Fuyatsuki. After talking for a bit, Kakeru realizes Koharu is blind. That revelation immediately sends his overthinking brain into overdrive. He already struggles with low self-esteem, so he can't even imagine how difficult life would be without being able to see. Strangely enough, though, Koharu doesn't seem miserable at all. When the party ends, Yuko explains why the two of them were sitting alone. As soon as everyone found out Koharu was blind, they quietly avoided her for the rest of the evening. Nobody even bothered sitting at their table. The four of them walk home together, and Kakeru keeps wondering what it would be like to never see something as beautiful as the moon shining above them. Yuko pulls Kakeru aside while Koharu confidently walks on her own, following the tactile paving built for visually impaired pedestrians. Yuko asks him if he'd like to join the university's volunteer group that helps students with disabilities, including Koharu. Kakeru immediately thinks he's the wrong person for the job. He doesn't believe he's capable of helping anyone. Unfortunately for him, Yuko is incredibly persistent. She even asks for his phone number before he can escape. Kakeru only manages to promise he'll think about it. A few moments later, Koharu almost trips over a bicycle someone carelessly left on the tactile path. Everyone is annoyed because that's exactly where bikes should never be parked. During the walk, we also learn a little about Kakeru's past. Raised by his divorced mother, he spent his childhood keeping his head down whenever he visited his father. He learned to avoid standing out, avoid causing trouble, and quietly endure everything. When they arrive at Koharu's apartment building, fireworks suddenly light up the night sky. Hearing them, Koharu excitedly runs outside to enjoy the moment and nearly loses her balance. Thankfully, Kakeru catches her before she falls. Kakeru is confused when she says she can see the fireworks. Of course, she doesn't literally mean it. Even without sight, she still loves fireworks because she experiences them through their sounds, vibrations, and the atmosphere around her. The mysterious way she views the world leaves Kakeru completely fascinated. The next day in class, Kakeru notices Koharu reading with Braille, but he's too awkward to say hello. Right then, Yuko sends him a message asking him to look after Koharu while she's busy. There goes his chance to quietly avoid the situation. Soon after, Koharu accidentally drops her bookmark. Kakeru picks it up and hands it back. She doesn't recognize him at first, but the moment she hears his voice, she immediately knows it's him. Before class begins, Kakeru notices her taking notes with a special Braille typewriter. After class, he plans to leave as fast as possible, but Koharu accidentally drops her white cane after everyone else has already left. Kakeru hesitates. Before helping her, he instinctively checks if anyone is watching, and that realization makes him hate himself even more. He knows he's feeling pity instead of simply treating her like anyone else. In fairness, he's never interacted closely with someone who has a disability, so he's unsure what the right thing to do is. Eventually, he hands her the cane anyway. Koharu simply laughs and jokes that maybe she should attach little bells to her cane so she can always hear where it lands. Then she immediately points out that bells won't help much if it's lying on the floor. Her cheerful attitude catches Kakeru completely off guard. She laughs at her own disability without making it awkward, and spending time with her feels surprisingly comfortable. Before long, she casually invites him to hang out, and, almost without thinking, Kakeru agrees. Their first stop is a vending machine. To Kakeru's surprise, Koharu confidently presses the buttons without hesitation. She explains that it's her vending machine not because she owns it, but because after using it countless times, and with Yuko's help in the beginning, she's memorized exactly where all her favorite drinks are. As they spend more time together, Kakeru realizes how many assumptions he had made. He always believed that if he were blind, his life would be hopeless. He also worried about what questions were appropriate, what jokes might be offensive, and how carefully he had to act around Koharu. But she casually jokes about her blindness herself, showing him that she's far stronger and far more fun than he ever expected. For someone who has always lived this way, Koharu never seems depressed. That amazes Kakeru. He spent most of his life feeling ashamed simply because he was raised by a single mother. Compared to everything Koharu has gone through, his problems feel much smaller, yet she's always smiling and shining brighter than everyone else. It makes Kakeru realize that the biggest walls in his life are the invisible ones he built himself. Maybe it's finally time to lower those walls, open up to people, and let someone in. Deep down, he feels that this cheerful girl is about to change the way he sees the world. Not long after, Kakeru ends up picking up Koharu's white cane for the second time. Apparently, dropping it is a regular occurrence. Taking advantage of the moment, she happily invites him to spend another free period together. At this point, Kakeru is starting to suspect this girl somehow knows exactly how to keep him around. The two grab a drink from a vending machine, and before long, they hear Yuko approaching. To Kakeru's surprise, Koharu recognizes Yuko instantly just from her voice. Kakeru has been wondering if blind people naturally develop super hearing, but he's too afraid to ask because it sounds rude. Thankfully, Yuko has absolutely no filter and asks the question for him. Koharu laughs and explains that it doesn't really work like that. She simply has a good ear because she learned to play the piano when she was younger and has studied music for years. That reminds Yuko about an upcoming piano performance. Someone needs to check whether the piano in the dormitory still works. The problem is that neither Yuko nor Koharu lives there, so they can't enter by themselves. Kakeru, however, lives in the dorms. He was hoping to quietly disappear and leave the two girls behind, but after seeing both of them give him the ultimate puppy dog eyes, he surrenders immediately. There was no escaping this mission. Unfortunately for Kakeru, halfway there Yuko gets called away by the student committee for an emergency meeting. Before leaving, she asks Kakeru to accompany Koharu to the piano room by himself. Koharu explains that she learned to play the piano when she was still able to see. Even though she lost her sight later, she memorized every piece she practiced back then. When she sits down and starts playing, the entire room seems to freeze. Her performance is so beautiful that Kakeru feels completely transported by the music. Kakeru is completely mesmerized. After finishing a few songs, Koharu happily announces that the piano works perfectly. It just needs a little tuning. As they're about to leave, Koharu thanks him for picking up her cane again and for coming with her to test the piano. Then she casually admits something that catches Kakeru completely off guard. She was actually hoping he'd be the one to pick up her cane. She wanted an excuse to talk to him and invite him to spend more time together. At this point, Kakeru starts wondering if the cane accidentally falling isn't always so accidental. He blushes, awkwardly tells her they're friends now, and that she can talk to him anytime. The second those words leave his mouth, he immediately regrets sounding so cheesy. Later, we learn that Kakeru studies psychology. During class, they discuss the suspension bridge effect, the idea that people sometimes mistake fear-induced excitement for romantic attraction. Little does Kakeru know, that lesson is about to hit a little too close to home. After class, Koharu invites him to visit the Meijimaru, a historic ship on campus. Kakeru has walked past it so many times that it's become ordinary to him. But for Koharu, it's an exciting new experience despite not being able to see it. As they explore the ship, Kakeru carefully describes every room and detail so she can imagine it. When they reach the deck, she asks him to describe the view, and he does his best to paint the scenery with words. Before leaving, Koharu jokingly suggests recreating the famous Titanic scene. Kakeru immediately refuses, but while laughing around, Koharu suddenly loses her balance. He instinctively catches her from behind, making both of them blush from the unexpected close contact. That night, Kakeru has a dream, but instead of Koharu, his roommate somehow replaces her in the Titanic scene. His subconscious clearly has a strange sense of humor. The next morning, Kakeru finds Koharu struggling with the wind as her umbrella nearly flies away. He helps her, and since they're heading the same way, they walk together under one umbrella. Along the way, Koharu shyly asks if they can start calling each other by their first names. Kakeru is far too embarrassed to call her Koharu, so he sticks with Fuyatsuki. Koharu, however, happily starts calling him Kakeru instead. She then notices he's getting soaked because he's been holding the umbrella over her. Moving closer so they both fit underneath, she unknowingly sends Kakeru's heart into overdrive. It's been about a month since they first met. At first, Kakeru only helped Koharu because he felt obligated and wanted to avoid getting too involved. But now they're spending time together almost every day. She's calling him by his first name, and it's obvious they're growing much closer. Whether he realizes it or not, Kakeru is slowly falling for her. As the days go by, Kakeru keeps spending more and more time with Koharu, and before he knows it, hanging out with her has become part of his daily routine. One day, she reaches for her usual drink, only to realize it's sold out. Instead of asking Kakeru to pick something, she decides to leave it up to fate and grabs a random can, treating it like a game of Russian roulette. Unfortunately, luck isn't on her side. She ends up with a fizzy drink, and she absolutely hates carbonated drinks because they irritate her throat. After taking a small sip, she immediately hands it to Kakeru and asks if he'll finish it for her. He agrees without thinking, but then suddenly realizes she already drank from it. Awkward. Still, he shrugs it off and drinks it anyway. A little later, Yuko shows up with Yumi. Seeing them together is a bit surprising, but they had just finished class and figured they might as well hang out. Then Koharu suggests something she's always wanted to do, but never had the chance to try karaoke. Everyone is instantly on board, except Kakeru. It's not that he hates the idea. He's just the kind of guy who'd rather wrestle a bear than sing in front of people. Sadly for him, democracy wins. Yuko goes first and absolutely nails her song, setting the bar way too high. Yumi follows and somehow makes things even worse for poor Kakeru. Then it's Koharu's turn. Since she can't see the song list, Yuko happily chooses one for her, a song about fireworks, which couldn't fit her better because Koharu absolutely loves fireworks. The moment she starts singing, everyone falls silent. Her voice is beautiful, and by the time she's done, the room bursts into applause. Now all eyes turn to Kakeru. Escape is no longer an option. Dragged forward by pure social pressure, he reluctantly grabs the microphone. Let's just say, nobody is calling him for a concert anytime soon. His singing is hilariously off-key, but Yuko and Koharu cheer him on the entire time, turning what could have been an embarrassing disaster into a fun memory. Their quiet afternoons become just as special. Sometimes Kakeru stays completely silent so he won't interrupt Koharu while she's reading. But every now and then she asks, "Are you still there?" It catches him off guard. He finally realizes that when he stays silent, it's almost like he disappears because she can't see him. It's such a simple thing, yet it's something most people would never think about unless they lived with someone who was blind. Curious, Kakeru asks what she's reading. She tells him it's the diary of Anne Frank. He reacts with surprising excitement, making it sound like he's read it himself. Except he hasn't. Koharu can't help laughing at him. His reactions are so genuine that they're honestly kind of adorable. She explains that she loves the book because Anne Frank never gave up, and that determination inspires her. She even lets Kakeru try reading the Braille version, but after a few seconds, he realizes those tiny raised dots might as well be an alien language. Inside the book is a handmade bookmark with a sentence written in Braille. Naturally, he asks what it says. Koharu simply smiles and refuses to tell him, teasing that he'd know if he learned Braille. Kakeru immediately waves the white flag, saying learning Braille sounds like way too much work. Their conversation drifts to fireworks, Koharu's favorite thing in the world. She asks if Kakeru likes them too. He admits that his childhood memories aren't exactly magical. His hometown hosts one of Japan's biggest fireworks festivals, but every year the crowds were so huge that all he ever saw was the backs of other people's heads instead of the fireworks themselves. Not exactly the fairy tale experience. Koharu sees it completely differently. Since she can't see the fireworks anyway, what she loves most is hearing everyone's excitement, feeling the energy of the crowd, and knowing thousands of people are looking up at the same sky together. Her perspective leaves Kakeru speechless. He had never thought about fireworks that way before. As they continue talking, a sudden gust of wind swoops in like it has perfect comedic timing, snatches Koharu's handmade bookmark, and sends it flying straight onto the school rooftop. Just like that, it's completely out of reach, leaving the two of them staring upward. Or, in Koharu's case, just knowing exactly where their next problem landed. Kakeru immediately apologizes because, let's be honest, the flying bookmark was 100% his fault. He was the one holding it when the wind decided to become the main character. Surprisingly, Koharu doesn't seem upset at all. She simply says it's okay and changes the subject to fireworks. Yuko had told her there was supposedly a fireworks club somewhere on campus, and now she wants to check it out. Since Kakeru is feeling guilty, he doesn't really have the heart to say no, so he tags along. When they finally arrive, Kakeru realizes the club looks less like an exciting student organization and more like the setting of a low-budget horror movie. It's an old, rundown shed packed with random junk from floor to ceiling. He carefully describes everything to Koharu, then quietly asks if she really wants him to knock. She confidently says yes. Hoping nobody answers, Kakeru knocks anyway. And for one glorious second, it seems like the building is empty. Unfortunately for him, an older man suddenly appears carrying a fishing rod and casually introduces himself as the club's one and only member. Koharu asks if he was the one who launched the fireworks near campus the night Kakeru walked her home. The man quickly realizes she's blind, but he tells her that you don't need eyesight to enjoy fireworks. Sometimes, hearing the explosions and feeling the atmosphere is enough. Koharu excitedly admits that her dream is to launch fireworks herself and experience them from as close as possible. The man, however, isn't nearly as enthusiastic. He explains that fireworks are incredibly dangerous and that people are much safer watching from a distance. To prove his point, he silently raises his arm, revealing several burn scars. There's just one tiny problem. Koharu can't see them. The man never bothers to explain what he's showing, simply walks back into the shed and leaves the conversation hanging. Koharu is completely confused and has no idea what just happened. Only after she asks does Kakeru explain that the man was showing her his badly burned arm. She sighs and admits that's one of the most frustrating things people do around her. They rely on gestures or facial expressions instead of actually saying things out loud. For someone who experiences the world mostly through sight, that might feel natural. But for someone who can't see, it just leaves important parts of the conversation missing. Even after hearing about the burns, Koharu refuses to give up on her dream. She's determined to launch fireworks one day, and she wants Kakeru to do it with her. She even knows a shop where they can buy some. Kakeru rejects the idea once, twice, 3 times, but Koharu has the ultimate trump card. She casually reminds him that he's the reason her handmade bookmark is decorating the school rooftop. With his guilt meter already maxed out, he has no choice but to surrender. The two agree to go shopping the next day. That afternoon, Kakeru gets ready and starts picking out what to wear. Just then, Koharu calls him, sounding unusually nervous. They suddenly realize they never decided where or when to meet. She shyly admits that talking on the phone feels completely different from talking face to face. Kakeru hadn't thought much about it before, but hearing her say that makes him unexpectedly self-conscious too. His first idea is simple: he'll just go to her apartment and pick her up. Koharu immediately shuts that down, saying that wouldn't really feel like a proper date. Kakeru instantly insists, "It's not a date. I'm just accompanying you to buy fireworks." "Nice try, buddy." That's exactly what a date sounds like. Now it's Kakeru's turn to get flustered. After a little awkward back and forth, they finally agree on a meeting place and a time. And just like that, without either of them wanting to admit it, they're about to go on their very first date. Subscribe to not miss the next part and watch the next video on screen.